on WSGW this Tuesday, believe it or not, the final day of February 2023. Or to put it another way, 1/6 of the year is gone. Oh my goodness gracious, time just flies. I haven't figured out how to slow it down either. It's just, yet at the same time, I'm looking at my to-do list today, and I've come to the realization, no matter how fast time flies, there are not enough hours in the day to complete this list. So it's just going to be one of those days. I just have a ton of things to do, and I have to get my thought process in order to be able to just do them. That's all. Anyway, program, as you heard, brought to you by Westside Decorating Center in Saginaw, located at 5789 State Street. Their newly expanded showroom and newly expanded product lines. They're now carrying countertops, both quartz and granite, all there for you to see. Westside Decorating Center. And one of these times on a Friday, we'll have Mike Stoddard on again to talk about paint wallpaper and help you with your projects. In the meantime, open phones for this hour and next. So we have a pure open phone show today. And the number is 989-752-6111. There's a lot to talk about politically, Supreme Court and all that stuff, but I want to start with sports, just for the fun of it, because I know that there are oodles and oodles of golfers who love the game, love to watch the game, and now PGA, of course, dominating force in golf, has competition from LIV. It's the golf league with the endless pot of Saudi money. Well, LIV may not live very long. For all the conversation over the past 12 months about the PGA fending off LIV and refusing players who go to LIV entrance into PGA events, LIV had a season opening event in Mexico this past weekend. And the PGA Tour also had an event this weekend. And if the ratings are any indication, PGA has nothing to worry about. It'll be interesting to see if LIV survives. LIV, they were on the CW network. They had a rating in the markets, 26 markets where it's metered. They had a rating of 0.2. That's hardly anything. They have a show on the CW called The World's Funniest Animals. It has a much, much bigger audience than the LIV Golf had. But yet the PGA Tour did fairly well with its ratings, and does even better when, of course, who shows up for Tiger Woods. Like last week, Tiger Woods was in the tournament. The audience was huge, and he made the cut, and then the audience stayed huge. So I think, while I understand competition can be good because it sharpens you, and I do think if there is a plus to the LIV Golf, and I'm not a fan, but if there is a plus to LIV Golf, it's forcing the PGA to take a look at changing some of the things it does and the way it deals with its players and guaranteed paydays and things of that nature. So I think in the long run, the PGA will be better off because LIV came about, because it's forced the PGA to make some, albeit the minor changes in the way they do things, still changes to meet the times. The bigger question is, will the two ever get together again? Will the PGA ever accept LIV players back into the fold. Well, maybe if some of those players come away from Live and do their mea culpa and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," maybe they'll get back in. Who knows? But right now, anyway, it's a standoff, and it looks like the PGA is going to dominate because the Live has very little going for it. I was flipping the dials, and I happened to come across it, and I was surprised to hear some of the commentators on the Live. David Feherty was one of the commentators on the course, and I went, "Whoa, really?" That surprised me. But they're not under the same umbrella as the players, if you will. They're just a hired help. They go out and do it. They have a contract with Live to do it. They do it. That doesn't prevent them from doing other golf tournaments. But I look at entities that are created simply because of greed, and that's what I believe Live was created for. I have trouble legitimatizing it. Yeah, there's a few big name players like Mickelson that went over to Live, but I mean, how much is too much, Bill? You're already a zillionaire. I just have not a lot of respect. I did have a chance to spend quite a bit of time during the Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational. One of the Dow ambassadors is Corey Pavin. And Bill Hobson and I were upstairs in the clubhouse during one of the breaks of the tournament, and Corey Pavin was sitting with us. We were there probably about an hour. I talked to him about the Live League tour, if you will. And he had an interesting perspective because after you were done talking to Corey, he didn't come across one way or the other. Basically, he left it to competition to decide. He didn't fault the players for doing it, nor did he jump on board and say, "Oh yeah, I got to do that." But he understood the financial side. Because while, yeah, there's a Phil Mickelson in there who makes zillions of dollars and all of that stuff, there are a lot of players in there who don't. And one fat payday can make their career for them. And guaranteed pay for play, puts them in a better financial position. So he understood why players might have been attracted to the Live. But he didn't come out and tout it, and he didn't come out and knock it. And I mean, Bill and I were there for about an hour with the guys and talked a lot about it. But he had a very, very neutral stance on it. Now, I'm not sure how much of that was because he's sitting in the Dow tournament representing Dow. Even though we didn't have any recorders going, this was just a conversation between the three of us. And you still have to wonder if he was a little measured. But he's a really nice guy, down to earth. Enjoyed the conversation. I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation. I'd always enjoy chatting with Bill about golf and playing with Bill. But it's going to be interesting to see how long the Saudis are going to want to pump money into this tournament without a return, because they're not going to get the big audiences. They're not going to see the big sponsorships and high-priced stuff. You wonder how their return is going to happen. And there weren't huge crowds either. I mean, somewhere along the line, even the smartest of the smart in Saudi Arabia know how to count dollars. It's going to be interesting to see if it's an unending supply of money or if there is a bottom. So I just thought I'd I bring that up this morning. You want to talk about it, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Anything goes, whatever you'd like to chat about. 989-752-6111 is the number to get it on with us here on WSW. We'd love to chat with you on this final day of February. Oh, and let me ask, you expect an early spring? Or Punxsutawney Phil right, 6 more weeks of winter? If he was right, then we have another 2.5, 3 weeks of winter. What do you think? All right, we're going to take a break, and we will be back.
Hey! Hey, guys! Hey! Come check out our store. Ooh, watch this fancy footwork. Woo! Hey, come check out our store. It's really cool.
Hey, let's just say there's a better way to get noticed. Brothers Designs is your one-stop destination. On needs, business logos, signage, vehicle wraps, posters, business cards, uniforms and apparel, and more. If you want to turn heads and increase business, let's talk. Online at brothersdesignsmi.com. Brothers Designs, get noticed.
Join Mark Patrick seminars, Lose the Weight or Stop Smoking. Guaranteed only $49.99. Seminar Saturday, March 4th at the Bay Valley Resort and Conference Center in Bay City. Weight loss seminar starts at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An near $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The trade deficit in goods rose 2% in January to a three-month high of $91.5 billion. The latest numbers reflect high inflation as well as a steady U.S. demand for new cars, food, and consumer goods. Exports rose 4.2%, and imports increased 3.4%. The trade gap in goods has tapered off since hitting a record $125.3 billion last spring, but it is still historically high. And Amazon employees getting a new home loan option. The Wall Street Journal reporting they will soon be able to use stock as collateral for those loans in an arrangement with online mortgage lender Better.com, which will allow borrowing against shares for down payment. Interest rates at a time when the tech giant's stock is down. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold, which is the only gold IRA company I trust. So text SHELTER to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Recruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The WSGW Morning Team. Your WSGW online poll about tracking the Tigers all season long. Baseball season fast. And now, opening day, March 30th, and WSW is proud to be your home for Tigers baseball for 56th consecutive season. Man, nice. That's a lot of seasons. And best of all, of course, with WSW, it's free to listen. Yet we know some fans will pay to watch the Tigers on TV or via a streaming device.
If Valius goes under and Major League Baseball picks up the coverage, I think streaming will start to skyrocket.
So our poll question for you is this: how do you plan to track the Tigers all season long? Will you mostly be listening to radio like WSW? Mostly watching TV? Mostly using a streaming device? Or using both your radio and TV? How will you track the Tigers? We want to know. Head to the poll box at WSW.com. You scroll down the homepage and you can make your vote. That's right. Charlie, Denise, and Pat, your morning 8 to 9 on WSGW.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robbins show, you know the difference between Wuhan and Vegas? What's that? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. And Pat is chopping at the bit in the studio, as he always is. So we say good morning to Pat Johnson. Good morning.
I didn't want to interrupt while you were probably counting your rosary beads and all that stuff. So I didn't want Listen.
Good for Jewish kids. That's good.
I'll tell you what, that was probably the funniest part of yesterday. Was that, I forget who that was, Sean or Scott, but was saying that you were a Catholic. I said,
yeah, I did.
How did anybody ever get that?
I have no idea.
But no, I can't remember which one. I heard my name mentioned yesterday, and it was, I think it was with Sean. I think it was Sean. And
you take your name in vain quite often.
I appreciate. Hey, at least I'm remembered. I guess it's okay.
I've told Pat over the years. I think it'd be cool if Pat and I did a show sometime just together.
Agreed. We, believe it or not, and I'll try to. Oh, you know what? The old desktop tower I used to have for years, it blew up, and so we did record a podcast years ago. I don't know if you remember that, but we did like an hour, I think. And it was pretty good.
That's why it blew up.
Yeah, probably. So burn this down forever. So it's no longer here. No, he mentioned my name yesterday in a conversation we had off the air on Friday, and he asked me, and he and it was pretty much. I'm not going to argue a lot with what he said, but he was criticizing me because he says, "Can you name me anything that has any good that's happened with Biden as president?" And without even thinking, I just said, "Well, hearing aids are cheaper, and insulin is now $35." And he just said, "Well, that doesn't really count." Well, then you asked me for two things, all right? And I gave you two things. That's all I wanted to do. And then he switched the topic real quick over to, and we just had a major disagreement with that. And I just said, he asked me, how long are we going to stay there? And I said, well, as long as Putin is still sending troops over there and is trying to take over this land, I'm fine with us doing what it takes. What we are doing right now by supplying arms to Ukraine. I don't want boots on the ground. I don't want our people over there doing it, but I'm fine with by supplying Ukraine.
The conversation yesterday too was part of my conversation was, and I really didn't come out and say yay or nay on Ukraine. I agree with you that we cannot put our heads in the sand. However, I do think there needs to be a financial accounting that all the money we're spending, not so much on, I mean, a tank is a tank and a gun is a gun and a rocket's a rocket. We know that. You can't really convert that. I mean, it's expendable stuff that we're sending there. But money, on the other hand, I think we need to have an accounting. Particularly, and maybe not so much because of Zelensky, but the reputation of the Ukraine prior and the corruption, which we saw recently when he dumped a couple of people from his executive leadership. Corruption was rampant there, and I think we need to have an accounting of where funds go if money's exchanged in all this process.
Well, I'm
But
always
and
yeah.
I don't think you'd object to that. I think
No, I'm always fine with that. In fact, I have always asked that. I wanted that during the Iraq War. When that was done off the books, I wanted that done during Afghanistan for all those presidents who, as that war was going on. I think that the legislative branch is ceded way too much, and the Supreme Court seems through the years to give the executive branch even more and more power, so they don't have to really be held accountable.
I would
sometimes
not disagree with that. I
Yeah.
think you're right, and I think that we need to get back to this balance that the founding fathers, trusted in setting up three branches of government that are supposed to be equal, but it sometimes doesn't look like it is.
Right? No, not at all. But that was my whole argument is that I do believe, and I'm one that doesn't always take the military-industrial complex at its word. I've always done that throughout my entire life, and I am always one that if somebody tells me something, especially from government, I'm like, are you really telling me the truth? I'd like to know more. When it comes, and so I look at it this way. I think it is kind of an anti-war statement to stop Putin right now. I think the war statement would be letting him just continue to take up land, and then all of a sudden we're going to find ourselves maybe in a World War III.
Well,
Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know if I can assign the term Hitler to him, but history should have taught us that we can't bury our heads in the sand. It catches up with us.
Right.
And Putin is an unpredictable. I think this is just a guess on my part. I think Putin's downfall is going to come eternally.
I do too.
And that, I do believe that's not the only way that it's going to happen.
I've always thought that. And usually that's
yeah.
what happens with strong men like that. Is that's going to have to take somebody
eventually.
from the inside.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I wonder how much longer will Russian people keep supporting this if this continues kind of at a stalemate where it is. Right now, they still are supporting the war.
Sort of. Not
support
all.
Hasn't dropped.
Not all. I mean, but protests. Protests in Russia don't have happy endings for most of the protests.
Right.
Which is why you don't see too many.
Right. And it seems like there are certain people within government or oligarchs who somehow they can't find a place to fall softly. They somehow slip out windows and they fall down and die.
There's another side of this that's going to be interesting to watch. Putin reaching out to Xi. China, while they're certainly aligned with Russia, China and India don't seem too eager to get involved in this.
Mm-mm.
And if they're not getting involved, and if Putin is running into financial issues and weapons issues, and certainly he's having problems in his own armed forces, that may be the death knell. Because he's really trying to get them involved. They don't seem to want to be.
Yeah, at least they're not enthusiastic about it all just yet.
No.
And I will say this: I think the Live Golf League will also be
Will it
suffering a
live
downfall
for another day?
It might for a little while. I mean, I'll say this: our golf is not on the forefront of everybody's minds just yet. I want to see what happens when we get into spring. And we get into
that's
summer.
true.
Let's
That's
see
very
what
true.
happens there.
That's a very good point. That it is not. It's not there yet, unless you live in the warm climates. But it certainly was a telltale this past weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
and we'll see how well it does later.
Absolutely.
And again, I ask: is the money pit endless? I don't think the Saudis are going to just throw away the world to do it. So I don't know.
Everybody has a breaking point, right?
Exactly.
All right,
including
so you got
Pat Johnston. I understand this.
That's right. You got some calls.
All right, you put them up, and I'll take a break, and then we'll get to those calls. Thanks, Pat. Let me take a moment to talk to you about my good friends. And when I say friends, I mean that in the most sincere way. I have known this family for better than 40 some odd years, close to 50 years. The McDonald family at McDonald Ford. I knew the dad, Tom Sr., one of the very first people I ever met when I got here. And I've known Tom Jr. and his son, Tommy III, for many, many, many years. And we have purchased our cars from McDonald Ford. And as the name implies, they're a Ford dealer. It's obvious. But Tom Jr. wants you to know that they're more than a Ford dealer. If you're not in the market for a Ford product, they have a pre-owned lot that has lots of other brands on it. All the popular ones, Chevys, Cadillacs, Jeeps, Lincolns. I mentioned to you, I walked through the other day and there was an Audi and there was a Mercedes. You find all kinds of vehicles in their pre-owned lot. All of them have been through 100-point inspection, so you can drive with confidence. I'm driving one of those vehicles right now. I've got a Chevy. It's a big pickup. It is a Z71 Trail Boss that I'm driving from McDonald Ford. Yep, it's a Chevy. And if I had a problem, I'd know that their service department stands behind it, because their service department can handle everything from the smallest of problems to the largest of repairs. Also a body shop in Drive Collision right next door, and the quick lane for your quick oil change and service needs. It's all there at McDonald Ford. My dealer of choice, has been for many years, could be yours too now. Stop out to 6790 Midland Road in Freeland, where they are devoted to helping and serving you.
What's the most important part of a retirement plan?
Income is king, because we all need income. And if you don't have an income plan, you don't have a retirement plan.
That's Kevin Ray, financial coach at Insight Folios. Kevin tells his listeners every week about the importance of income planning, minimizing taxes, and strategies to lead a worry-free retirement. Learn all about that and get your own complimentary financial review by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
It could be the best years of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want. You have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh & Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Make retirement the best time of your life. Tune in Sundays at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word safeguard to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold, which is the only gold IRA company I trust. So text safeguard to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, $69 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, Call Select Quote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. Select Quote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Thank you for being with 100.5 and 790 News Radio W in the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW, the Art Lewis Show, and Mark is in Glenny. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you, sir?
We're fine.
Under the previous administration, for the 2 years, Saudi Arabia was brought up many times, kind of like a thorn in Trump's side. It had to do with oil, trading oil, Khashoggi, 9/11, and it went through all his administration. Yesterday, was happy to get funding from Saudi Arabia for Ukraine. How does the media square that up now?
I don't know if the media squares it up at all. They just report it.
Well, the media was upset that Trump was talking with the Crown Prince under his administration because of the murder of John.
Some of the media. That's a big brush. Some of the media. Not all. Some of the media.
Some people in the administration was also on to Trump as far as, is he going to do anything about 9/11 or hold the Crown Prince? For this current administration, it's welcome open arms. How has selective anger gone away?
No, it hasn't. It's just that's every administration is different, isn't it? They all view it differently.
Well,
and
so we just accept money and forget. I don't understand.
In this administration, yes. In another administration, maybe not.
Okay,
but I mean, that's listen, that's world politics, and and unfortunately, some of these leaders want to get in bed with leaders that you and I might look at and say, wait a minute here, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And
well, we could.
Saudis are an interesting group, and I mean, if I were dealing with the Saudis, if I were in a position to deal with the Saudis, I would not trust until I got absolutely convincing evidence. I just I have that gut feeling about them. But by the same token, they're a world player, and we're on a world stage today.
Well, it's just an example. We can turn a blind eye when there's money involved, and that's what concerns me with China doing the same thing, getting involved. It's all about money. The only reason why Saudi Arabia got involved because Iran was sending drones to Russia.
Right.
So is Saudi Arabia still a friend in this, or is it just money?
So you take each episode on its face value. We are in a position where we're asking the world to help the Ukrainians. If the Saudis want to step up and help the Ukrainians, for whatever reason, okay, so be it. That's this particular episode. That doesn't forgive past episodes. It doesn't erase past episodes, but it is what it is today. In today's world and in today's conflict, so be it. If they want to put their money there, I'd rather have their money going there than someplace else. So anyway,
I'll put it in the selective anger bucket.
No, you might put it there. That works. All right, good enough.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye now. And Scott is in Saginaw. Scott, good morning.
Hey, morning. Hey, this is to Pat, since he touted the two huge accomplishments of the Biden administration. But when we actually look at it, for the hearing aids, 7.1% of the population uses a hearing aid, and 2.8% of the population uses insulin. So, Pat, for the rest of the 90% of us, we're all paying a lot more. So I think the statistics don't go in your favor on that one.
That's true of so much. I mean, you could say the same thing about Social Security. The percentages are a lot higher, but everybody's paying for it. Listen, Scott. Everybody pays for everything. Well, maybe I'm going to take that back. Unfortunately, not everybody is paying for what government does, because when you look at the statistics now, it's almost 50% of the population pays no tax. So you and I are paying more because we pay tax. And remember, everything government has comes out of our pocket, directly or indirectly. So, whether you take the insulin and the hearing aids, or you take any major projects, or you take the money that's going to Ukraine, it comes out of our pocket, period. No place else.
Well, I realize that.
No place else.
Well, I was just bringing this out for Pat, since he made the comment to that man on Friday and had 4 days to think about it and still couldn't come up with nothing better. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there to Pat, just to spar with him a little bit. So,
good spar.
All
right.
I'll get the phone and let you go out.
Hey, Scott, thanks for calling. Take care. Bye-bye now. We're going to take a break, come back. Carol. And Pat, by the way, said he told him on the spot about those two things. He didn't have 4 days to think about it. Today he reacted to it, but he didn't have 4 days to think about it. We're going to take a break, and then we'll get to Carol and Sheridan. Make sure we have time for Carol. So I want to take the break first, and then we'll be back.
Retirement is more than a newly discovered free time. It's a time to reflect on how you'll be remembered and your legacy. It's important to make proper arrangements now. Tune in to WSGW every Sunday at 8 a.m. to your Financial Empower Hour with Jason and Carl Kreiderman from Great Lakes Investment Advisors in Midland. Learn how to structure your retirement savings to increase the value of your leave the legacy you want. Plus, call Great Lakes Investment Advisors today, and they will include a complimentary Legacy Maximizer at 989-835-7203. That's 989-835-7203. This commercial shall in no way be construed as solicitation to sell securities or advisory services of any state other than Michigan, or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Great Lakes Investment Advisors, a registered investment advisor in the state of Michigan.
You might get wireless data everywhere, but you have to use it. If that's not really you, there's TracFone. You can get the same nationwide 5G coverage as big carriers, but you pick a plan that you need for a lot less. Unlimited talk and text plans start at $15 a month, no contract. And now you can get the Samsung Galaxy A03s for just $49.99. TracFone. Now you're in control. While supplies last, 1 month equals 30 days. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told would not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-478-6688. That's 1-800-478-6688.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
The Tigers play all season long on WSGW.
That ball is gone. A homer. Baez drills a line drive. On the run, Riley Green. He's going to dive and make another great catch. Riley Green does it again.
Listen on select weekends for special spring training broadcasts during March. Then, starting opening day, March 30th, the Tigers roar all season long on 790 News Radio WSGW.
And we are back with you here on the Art Lewis Show on WSGW. Back to our phones. Carol is in Sheridan. Carol, good morning.
Good icy morning.
Oh, is it icy?
Ice here. We got,
is it?
We got a lot of ice.
Ah.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are out. I don't know how many, consumers have got back on, but it's all drippy down. It's, there's a lot of them out without power. One thing, I'm just tickled that the people of Michigan had common sense to in these bunch. I would hate to have some of these people that call up running our government and running us. That would be very scary. But what I'm calling about is this baseball thing. And have you seen any of the baseball where they've got to pitch real quick?
I have not seen it, only heard about it.
It's awful.
You don't like it, huh?
No.
They were talking about it this morning on the morning team show. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask Pat maybe next hour to join me and talk a little bit about it. But it's I don't know. They're trying to speed up the game, and I'm not sure the game needs to be sped up. I guess that's I like baseball the way baseball was created and the way it's played, and I don't know that we need to do all this stuff. But who am I? I'm just a fan.
It's real disrespect. It's awful. I seen part of the game last night. They had it on the baseball network, Yankees, but you don't. It's not fun. It's terrible. I hope they don't continue with it.
Right.
We'll see. It's only 20. They don't have time to really think about it, or these young pitchers, it might be easier on the young pitchers because they aren't used to pitching, like the old ones.
That's all they know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like learning to write. If you do it, 40 years wrong, it's kind of hard to change.
Yeah. Isn't that true?
Check it out. See what people think about it. But I hope they don't leave it. But I imagine they will for a certain amount of time.
All right. Well, we will do that.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And let's move on and talk to Paul in Saginaw. Paul, good morning.
Morning, Art.
Morning.
Joined the show late, but I called to say that I believe that Biden made his mistake by not giving the Ukrainians those 28 Soviet MiG fighters from Poland, because the Ukrainians are already trained on those Soviet MiG fighters.
Yeah, I wondered about that too.
And they could have ended the war a lot sooner with those fighters. And the Ukrainians are not trained to use F-16s. They got to be trained. That takes a while. Plus, Putin ain't going to risk doing any nuclear stuff in Ukraine, because that nuclear radiation fallout will just blow Russia with the wind. So they're not going to do any of that. So I believe Biden and his military made a big mistake. This war could have ended, because they're just giving Ukrainians just enough weapons to fail. If you're either all in, or you don't do it at all.
Well, I'd say the way
you don't fight with one arm behind your back.
I'd say the way the Ukrainians are fighting is far superior to what we ever thought they would. Most people thought this would be over in 3 days because of Russia's strength, and the Ukrainians prove that it's not always the mighty; it's sometimes the will.
And if they had in Poland, here's the thing: the Russians won't know whether it's a Soviet pilot flying those Soviet MiG jets or a Ukrainian. They won't know who to shoot down. That gives the Ukrainians another advantage.
No, they'll know.
Well, it's the same plane. It's the same fighter jet.
Yeah, but their own pilots aren't going to get aggressive against them. The Ukrainians will. Come on now.
Especially at nighttime fighting, it's hard to determine who's who and what's what.
No, it's not. So. Not with modern technology. They have modern radar.
Yeah.
They can spot those planes a million miles away. I mean, it's a whole different world. I would have been in favor of them giving the Ukrainians.
If they had those jets.
I would have been in favor.
Over a long time ago.
No, I don't think so. Those jets aren't going to make a difference. 28 jets may extend the war, but it's not going to be over because of 28 jets.
Well, I think Putin would think twice about ending it a little sooner.
Well, I think
he would come to his knees a little sooner.
Putin's days are numbered, and I think it's going to happen internally.
Possible, because if it goes on too long, the people are going to get fed up with it, and they're going to want to make a change.
Yeah, maybe. But in Russia, that's easier said than done. All right, I got to go. I'm out of time. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye now.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is from Branham's Jewelry in East Tawas and West Branch. You are going to get half off of a $50 gift certificate. For over 50 years, Branham's Jewelry has been one of the most trusted names for jewelry in Northeast Michigan. Shop now and find that perfect gift for your loved one. You're getting a $50 gift certificate for only $25. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Easy. Got your back. Up Singers.
Backup Singers.
So I order barbecue for a 20-person client meeting.
A client meeting.
EasyCater calls and says, "Hi, Sarah. You probably need more food for that many people. Want us to add it for you?"
Done it for you.
I say yes, please.
Yes.
Turns out they were right. Good thing they asked, because Joyce's meeting notes can be pretty sassy when she's hungry.
Look out.
Client meetings. EasyCater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com and know
They got your back.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Makes more than 40 million people eligible for some level of debt forgiveness, and 20 million could have their debts erased entirely. The court appealing 2 challenges to the plan, one by 2 students and a second by 6 Republican states. Among the issues for justices, whether those challenging the program have the right to sue, which includes showing if they are financially hurt by the plan. Allison Key, CBS News, Washington.
It's a snow day on both coasts. Northern California is getting blasted with snow. They're measuring in feet, not inches. It shut down Interstate 80. New York City and parts of Connecticut are getting their first significant amounts this season. Correspondent Earl Barnett reports from Bristol, Connecticut.
They're off some school closures, so that keeps school buses off the roads. And here on Main Street, which I guess would be relatively busy in a morning with, quote, rush hour traffic in the time like this, it's been relatively clear. I've certainly seen the snow clouds caught up with
This month's ransomware attack on U.S. Marshals Service is just one growing rash of cyber crimes.
There were more cyber attacks in the U.S. last year than ever before, according to the cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. Its chief of security, Sean Henry, appeared on CBS Morning.
There are multiple nation states that are using this as a tool of their digital exploitation, part of their intelligence collection.
The White House has told all federal workers they have 30 days to stop using TikTok on government-issued devices. Congress approved of that, arguing the Chinese-owned app is a security risk. Jim Kucinich suggesting.
Drive a small SUV.
Dangerous road as the DC federal engine.
Nissan is recalling more than 800,000 Rogues and Rogue Sports because the jackknife folding season 2017 through 2022 models may not stay fully open. For partially unfolded, drivers could inadvertently shut off the engine while they're in motion. The company said no crashes or injuries have been reported, and there's still no fix. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' new book has just gone on sale and is already #1 on Amazon's top 100 list and pre-orders. The Courage to Be Free praises former President Trump and lays out DeSantis' model for the rest of the country and has his own expected presidential board. This week, the governor completed a state takeover of a taxing district in Orlando controlled by Disney for more than half a century. And the White House is shining again on Sanibel Island in Florida. Cheers went up as it came to life 5 months after Hurricane Ian ravaged the island. This is CBS News.
This is over. General Steel can help save you thousands. Build your own custom design building. Call 888-98-STEEL or visit generalsteel.com.
We're coming from the Commonwealth Circuit for you in North East. Proud to be found in your kitchen. The work is on this. And it really matters what you know. Whether they are laminated white, light brown, or dark confetti. It's the memories you make you will never miss. Commonwealth Circuit. Here in non-Western. You can visit us and you will know. What is your favorite?
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversation in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons with soundbite language experts give you the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te hablas? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and built by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotros vamos a México en 2 días. Hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Muchas gracias.
Now, Sandy Ferrari, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Inflation is nothing more than brutalized. I'm Dr. Ron Paul. Reserve your bill by higher than the food and food. But one more customer safety is human. You get a full inspection of various companies and their goals. This is a system.
From the 100.5 and 790 Newsroom. This is WSTW News.
Cloudy skies and 33 degrees at 10:05, 30 on my birthday. 35-year-old Copper man yesterday. Two police reports responded to the question. And the woman said, I'm sending the police to his home. He was reported to counsel and setting the agency to use himself. And the police found out his brilliant He's been driving up for the rest of the 2 months and he's looking at the December Amazon. On the basket of the labor and on the balance. 30 years old and living in the news. His father was studying to see help and he's a higher building.
Representative Nancy Gilliland has posted a recent photo across the 95 district. What is the topic of the United States experience? For this week, sample photograph the same street in the office. Each submission should include the name, address, and contact information of the individual which for the decision on the vote of this company in the that photo can be either individual other agency and submitted to the House on March 20th, 2020. Email to Matthew Gilliland at health.nil.ca. S1286 program for the year. Questions to the email Just look at this for a number of seconds. Benefit rescuers recently listed the time for a package for the homeless. During March 11th, in the Jackson Students issued the answer to Valley Road Center to the visitor text that listed ways that were already using full of resistance, which gave an activity to help more abroad, while also helping the homeless at the same time. It's online at rc.org or by phone 755 homeless. Your local humanity will work hard to give you every ability to enhance your irrigation operation. This year, we're giving you a head start on energy opportunity by letting you choose between industry-leading electric rates and deep personalization and unique United States. Consider a U.S. for better your deal with you. And you will have a very best season to contact your local United States today to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. See your local dealer or visit Lindsay.com/spring sale for services. Government. And 1008 and Medicare policies in the left. The decision by several carmakers with alien rating class electric vehicles for citizens and public safety expenses. Advocacy of justice. The law was seen that it's innocent to former Informative historic from Northwest 73 to Wilma, East Coast and South, back on February, after the official Michigan Department of Energy Cuba that the concept of moving to cost. Northwest studying large impact on the movement prior to the delivery of cost, which is indicative
Steve, Scott News website. Consider that. Where do you see the video extension for you? Rudy's Coffee Shop. Open phones for this hour. But before we get
Good morning, Larry. I hate to be thinking of that very thing. But a few minutes ago, you were talking about people feeling attacked. And you said attacked in this country don't take long. Exactly. But there's a big difference, right? You know, everybody pays tax, pays property tax, even renters pay property tax indirectly.
You know what I meant? No, but we were talking about federal government and state.
Well, but there's a lot of people here, you know, lots of people in the country don't pay taxes. And I think they hear something different than what you intended. So no, the people, a lot of people who don't pay federal income tax are older in coverage because their income doesn't qualify for federal income tax. Oh, yeah. But I mean, a lot of your listeners little or no federal income tax. That's true. Okay, yesterday you had a representative on, and state representative, he said that his mother had moved to Florida, and Florida does not have an income tax. And that's true. But, you know, if you know anything about Florida, you know the cost of living in Florida is not cheap. I mean, that's everything does with the demand. Well,
Why, man, that's true.
Yeah, well, it's like the cost of living in Michigan is a lot less than the cost of living in Florida.
Well, I just didn't have, I was just having, and food, fuel, all the fuel on the everyday basis, but no more than stuff. Yeah, there may be some housing costs, you know, there may be some housing costs now, but cost of living in terms of new business,
I always wonder about that.
Well, I don't. I was just there. I spent months for a week.
Okay, but then utility bills and property taxes and all of that when you were there. And insurance. Well, speaking of insurance, they're having a problem in Florida with homeowners insurance. Yeah. Apparently, a lot of people are not paying their insurance premiums because they've literally gone through the. And that's another cost of living.
So what? What that means is you make a removal, all that video. That's Florida. Well, it is. You know, if the absence of income tax, that was that is other taxes. If you had something you have to decide, don't you?
Yeah, but I got to just even straight.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that. Your property taxes got down to
but they're not that, I don't think they're that high compared to a lot of other states.
well, I don't know. I think you have to look through it. You have to guess. You don't know.
It is. It is. I'm not around worse than New York and Connecticut and California.
I know that too. All right.
But I think they're maybe good. That's about what
And, you know, really shot, shot. And now it's what I'm playing for. And all of 4%. And nobody's saying, isn't it great? We've got so many shots. Well, that's because there's a lot of people who are dropped out of the workforce and so very quiet. Almost any employer will tell you that they can't find it. Yeah, but remember this too, it's a business. No, it's a lack of people who want to work. Good. So how do we fix that? Well, that's a whole nother program. Well, that's the important program. You can have all the jobs in the world if you don't have people who want to do it. Education is probably going to be on the top of the list. There's a lot of people who are educated. Have a wall. All right. Well, not everyone works until they're 80 years old. That's true, but dropouts are 80 years old. I don't know how they live in English. All right. And let's get Sean on YouTube. Great shot. Hey, good morning. I enjoyed Carl for 8 minutes. Well, hey, check this out, Howard. Check this out. I got something for you. You ready for that? These are things that you consider conspiracy theories instead of conspiracy theories. Jump it right on the Hillary campaign. So that's true. That is true. Social media fans, people, and doctors, over anything you said about COVID. If you said COVID was a leak from the lab, that was conspiracy theory. You were a racist. I'd rather heard you say that. No, but you started out accusing me of using my conspiracy theory. So rephrase it. My apologies, let me rephrase it. You like to use the word people believe in conspiracy theories. These are all true. These are all things that people say are conspiracy theories that are true. Okay? So far, so good. So far, so good. Right? Not even biolabs in museums. So, not even biolabs in museums. COVID vaccine issues. You know, miles per later, people dropping dead, all that kind of good stuff. That's good. Nice drug dealing. Herd immunity. Hillary hadn't paid for it. The election last year. All these things were considered conspiracy theories. At what point do I stop becoming a conspiracy theorist and everybody else becomes a liar or a hot shit? That's where I'm at. Okay, and another one. Kyle called up yesterday and said, Kyle, you mean Jeffrey Smollett Jr.? What? And then I said, wait. What about Jeffrey Smollett Jr.? Well, that's who Kyle is. Kyle wants us to believe that somebody with a red truck hat, time to his face, and then he picks it up and puts Kyle in it. Kyle, you're a liar. How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that, Sean? Kyle, I was a salesman, so I must know. Good for you, but how do you know he didn't do that? Well, Kyle, I'm going to have to let him know if Sean's not answering the question. Don't know. Because you disagree with him, he's got to be right. No. Because conspiracy theories, that was conspiracy theories. Trying to be right about all those. I remember calling up and telling you that the vaccine was bad, that COVID was a problem, I don't buy into the fact. I don't buy into the fact. I don't buy into the fact. Let's put that on the table right here. There's killing people, honest. Yeah. You don't know anything about that? How many people? Listen up, Sean. All right, Sean, you're done. You are a huge denier. Okay, thank you very much, Sean, for calling people in. He does you a lot of good. And we will take a break.
Legislation is nothing more than legalized sin. I'm Dr. Ron Paul. Preserve your wealth by highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word SELF to 28282 to get a free interest rate on gold IRA, which is the only gold IRA company on the market. So text SELF to 28282 to request a free interest rate right now. This is just a anywhere. I honestly, I would never do new IRA home. So all you do is new. Or just contact us here at AUG $32. My contact us
focus is coming up right after the year with a couple of days. Before that, of course, the local report.
45 degrees at 11 like that, then you know that I'm right closer. The 59-year-old from Strata Oaks is different.
very pleasant.